I've been searching for you. Can you hear my voice calling from the streets? Deep calls unto deep. The purpose of your heart is deep waters, but a wise woman of understanding will draw it out of you. Come, drink from the fountain of wisdom, for my treasures are more valuable than rubies or gold. For I give long life, honor, and you receive favor from the Most High God.
I've been waiting for you. Hi, I'm Judah Jackson, the host and content creator for Wise Woman on Wisdom. Last week, I summarized the last series, 12 different lessons I shared with you about how to decode your destiny. It comprised of how to discover your purpose for being alive and your personal mission. So if you missed that, please be sure to go back to the playlist, Decoding Your Destiny. Today, I am super excited to start another series. It's going to be based on soulmates, from courtship to marriage. Early in this year, I shared a prophetic word, and I don't take that lightly when I say God shared this with me, that one of the end-time strategies God is going to use to strengthen his body and families and communities is marriage. He is going to be making matches in heaven. So today I want to, and this is going to last several weeks, several months as well. And I'm going to say up front, I am not an expert. I've never been married, but I'm doing research and I'm going to share research. There's a lot of excellent resources out there, people with just a lot of wisdom. And so as I'm preparing, I'm very excited too, because again, God has told me in 2022 that I am to marry. I've never married. I've never married. I'm 62 years old. So I'm very excited about this, and I can just, in my spirit, God has shown me and I can feel that He's close. And I haven't met him yet, but he's close. So first, let me define what I mean by marriage. And in that prophecy, not only is God bringing women and men together for marriage, because I'm going by the holy definition, because God instituted marriage. I'm talking about holy matrimony. That will be my focus. Male, female, and God. It's composed of three different beings in a marriage, holy matrimony. But also, I do believe he is bringing together friendships, partnerships, collaboration, connecting people with their tribe, their clan, and strengthening communities as well in these last days. So God is going to be with us. It's a strategy because the backdrop is going to be Matthew 24, wars, rumors of wars, famine, pestilence, and earthquakes. All of this is going to be going on simultaneously, but God is going to bring us together to strengthen our family and with marriages that we will be able to endure and make it through. Okay, so that is what I'm talking about. The definition of marriage I'm talking about and I'm going to focus on is holy matrimony. A male, a female, and God. Threefold cord is not easily broken. So let's look at soulmates. What are soulmates? Are they real? Is it demonic? Is it just new age? Is it a myth? Or is it something holy? So first, let's look at a definition. The very general definition, like in Merriam-Webster, is a partnership or romantic relationship characterized by deep understanding and acceptance of one another. That's real general, but I think we mean more when we say soulmate. So soulmates, we're going to look at the mythological from the Greek mythology, what soulmate is, and also from the Judeo Christian standpoint, what are soulmates, if there are soulmates. So let's start with we're going to compare and contrast the mythology, Greek mythology. Now, according to Plato, Aristophanes developed this theory that the first original of soulmates, the first original people were spherical, and they had two sets of arms, two sets of legs, two sets of heads looking opposite directions, and two necks. And they were strong, fierce people, these humans, and they challenged the gods and threatened to overthrow their government. The gods, small g, we're talking about Zeus and all the mythology. So Zeus decides to cut them in half, to humble them and to control them, and so the god small g could maintain their status quo. So he cut them in half, and he created a burning desire for them to find their other half, so they'd be partly occupied and not trying to overthrow the government. And also that deep yearning was built into them, and that they would not feel whole until they found their other half. So that's Greek mythology. Now, the Judeo Christian facts in the Bible are found in Genesis 2, starting around, I say start around 6 to go through verse 24 in Genesis 2. It talks about the creation of mankind. First it says, let us make man in our image and our likeness. So what he does, God blows his breath into the dust of the earth, and man, this is very important, verse 7, man became a living soul. Very important. It did not discriminate between gender right there. Only when Adam and Eve were separated did they become different genders. So it appears that they were somewhat androgynous, the being, until they were separated. And then it's very important to look at Adam's response when he sees Eve for the first time, because at this point all he had ever seen were animals, and he responds, she is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. And that's when she shall be called woman, and that's when the division of the genders came. Now let's look a little bit at that language in some Hebrew and Greek, or Hebrew actually, because it's Genesis. But the word soul first means, again, it's no gender associated, it's an androgynous term. It means living being with the life in the blood. This is the first being with life in the blood. And then let's look at flesh when Adam says she's, well, bone of my bone. Bone is like the foundation. The word, it comes from the word beam. It's a foundation to a structure or essence, like the foundation. And so the word rib, it says that God, when he made woman, Eve, he took her out of the man. From his rib he made her. Now, one of the challenging things about this particular verse is that that word rib is only used one time in the whole Bible. And you've heard that phrase lost in translation. It's very difficult to understand what it means. I mean, it talks about side, or indicates curvature, or half. But again, it's only once, used once, so you can't even compare it to other areas in the Bible where it could be used when you do word searches to get deeper meaning. But it would appear that she is foundational. Could be a half, like split in half, but the closest we can understand is half, side. Very significant portion of the first soul was separated. And I'm going to say at this point, I'm going to interject. Regardless, whether you believe in the mythology or the Judeo Christian, it talks about halves being separated. And that's why I do not believe homosexuality is healthy. Because you're not bringing that other half that's been separated back together. So there is no true marriage, regardless of the same sex, because you can't bring that half together. There's no fitting together. There's no consummation of the relationship. Because the original relationship, holy matrimony, God instituted, is between covenant people too. These are people that worship God. A man, a woman, and God. So when you don't bring the halves together, you're missing that other part. You cannot be whole without it. So, little side note. But anyway, going back to what Adam said, she is now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. And flesh, that means essence or self. She is part of me. And so when God created everything else, He's created it from the earth. But woman was taken out of man, so they're part of one whole. That's a big difference. If you look back at creation, only one being, the female, was ever created like that. And so it's like they're all created as a whole that was separated. And so based on that, that's Judeo Christian approach to it, and it's found in the Bible. So are there any parallels between the Greek mythology and the Bible scriptures? Well, first, yes, there are several parallels. One is you see the interaction of divinity, big G, O-D, God, and a small g, O-D, Zeus. There is an entity or power acting upon humans. That's one. And two, you see that there's a separation, a division, and there's a half. They're halves, and they are meant to come together. And that third part is, in order to find wholeness on your journey, you need to bring these halves together. So a lot of parallels there. And I've heard a lot of opinions about the soulmates. I'm from a Judeo Christian background. Some people say that's satanic. Some people say it's secular. Some people say it's New Age. But there are actually a lot of parallels. And one thing I learned later in my spiritual walk is that Satan, who is the enemy, the opposer of God, and hates mankind, he is an imitator, impersonator of the Most High God. He can only imitate and mimic. He cannot create. So oftentimes you're going to see two similar things that are from different sources. Like when Moses went before Pharaoh, and with the staff that God gave him, he threw down his staff and it turned into snakes. Well, Pharaoh brought his magicians out. They threw down their staffs and they turned to snakes. But then Pharaoh's snake ate up their snake. So for a minute there, it looked like everybody could do the same thing. But with time, it proved out because God's serpent swallowed theirs. So he can imitate. So either way, that's the answer that we need to look at. And based on the Judeo-Christian and even the mythology, I do believe there are soulmates. So you can see that as generally male and female coming together, or it could be more specific, a specific individual. And so let's look at some of the examples. And excuse me, I slipped up a couple of sentences and it said that Pharaoh's snake ate up Moses, but it's Moses' snake that ate up Pharaoh's. So let's look at some specific examples. Obviously, Adam and Eve. And sometimes we're blinded by the light. The truth is that the first marriage was arranged by God. And so he said, let's make someone suitable for Adam. So he took out what was suitable. And they're both the same, that essence is the same. So, and then let's go on to look at another couple in the Bible, Isaac and Rebekah. Jacob was getting old and he wanted to get a bride for his son, Isaac, but he did not want the bride to come from the land they were living in, so he asked his servant to go find a wife for his son. And so the angel accompanied him, and he was instructed by Jacob that the woman that will come and draw water from the well for you and your camels, she's the wife. And if she comes home with you, that's the confirmation. But anyway, so an angelic being was used to bring them together. And so let's look at another example, because that's the woman. He did meet her. She drew the water from the well for him and his camels, which was no small feat because camels drink a lot of water. But that was her. She came. It's confirmation that would be the one who did that. Very important too, that confirmation. So then let's look at Queen Esther and King Xerxes. Esther was an orphan, and Vashti was being deposed of being queen by King Xerxes. And so he's looking for a queen. Now in the Bible it says that Esther found favor in everyone that saw her. And you have to analyze that. Everyone, God was interacting. Destiny and providence. God was influencing her favor. The head of the eunuchs, Haggai, he favored her and gave her what she needed. And then the king favored her and chose her out of all the beautiful virgin women there. So you see again, divine providence is interacting on that one specific individual. And I believe there are other Jewish women there too, but she was the chosen one for King Xerxes. And then let's look at Mary and Joseph. Now when Joseph chose Mary, and after he found out she was with child, he's going to put her away because he didn't know what to think. And so God sent Gabriel, another angel, to confirm that don't be afraid, she is the one. Confirm that. So these are specific individuals that were brought together. And then look at the lineage. It's in Matthew. Every person had to come together in order for the seed in Jesus to be born through the line of David. Every individual. Nobody was random. So yes, I do believe in soulmates. I believe it's a holy system. Again, oftentimes Satan corrupts and perverts it, but I believe God's was the originator and the intention. So how about that? So as we continue, again, I'm going to share a lot of a lot of good wisdom as I prepare, and I want to just share with you the information and the wisdom that I glean as well, because I'm so excited for people coming together in these last days, because things are going to get perilous. They really are. But God is going to make sure that we have a strong foundation with a mate and families and strengthen our communities. We're going to be coming together, and we will be able to, with God's assistance and His providence of getting us together, be able to endure the wars, the earthquakes, the plagues, and the famines that are on this way. If this video has added value to your life, please like and share and subscribe to the videos. Until we meet again, go with love.